So my project is on isotretinoin embryopathy, and it is when the embryo is affected by the prescription pill isotretinoin, which is also known as Accutane. So this is my homepage, kind of just the understanding of everything and a big overlay of how an embryo can be affected. These are my phenotypes, which I found. The one that I found the most interesting was the microcephaly, which is when you have a smaller head size, which can be when the central nervous system is affected or the central nervous tissues. And you can see this usually in the ultrasound through the size of the small head. And that's usually when it's diagnosed as an ultrasound. Here we have the cardiovascular tissues are affected, nervous system, and the muscular tissues. And I found the muscular tissues to be the most interesting because the embryo will then express low muscle tone, muscle pain, elevated creatine kinase levels, and in most severe cases, the rhabdomyolysis, um, which is the breakdown of muscles. Bunch of genes that were affected. I picked a few that we had already spoken about in class. So the HOX gene, the P53 gene, the PAX2. And I found it very interesting how the HOX gene and the P53 gene work in tandem in the malfunction. So when the HOX gene is activated, the P53 gene is overactivated, which therefore causes apoptosis, the death of cells. And that is when you will find those like the breakdown of the muscles or the heart cardiovascular tissues being killed, like killing themselves, things like that. There are no treatments. I found it very interesting about the prevention. They were very prevalent about prevention, the I Pledge program, all things like that, and how you have to have two forms of birth control if you are prescribed isotretinoin. Finally, there's a few research programs going on currently. I found the cohort study to be very interesting. It's kind of the study is using multiple different subgroups of women and their exposure to the isotretinoin at different times. When the women were exposed in utero with their embryo in utero, the abnormalities present was larger than those when they were exposed pre-pregnant or pre-conception. So, which makes sense, but I found the studies to be very interesting. We also have some animal research going on. So mice stem cells develop and are very similar to human stem cell or human like developmental cells. And so it's very easy to use the two in tandem to see. And so we can experiment on the mice and see the signaling pathways as well as the genes and kind of figure out what's going on, how it's working, and just find new things about this abnormality and why it is occurring in our embryos if you are exposed to isotretinoin.